All right, if you would please grab out your Focus on Finance Unit Assessment Review. We are going to walk through step by step every single question. All right, let me get my pen set up. All right, so we've got our first problem, and it says Carlos purchased a chair at a garage sale for $20. He later sold the chair for $27 at the antique dealer. What was the percent increase for the price of the chair? All right, so this sounds like this is one of my difference over the original problem is equal to percent over 100. Can I make this smaller? Yeah, let's go there. There we go. All right, so I've got to find the difference in my two numbers. So I'm going to do 27 minus 20 and see that 7 minus 0 is 7 and 2 minus 2 is 0. Well, 7 is my difference over the original number, which the first number is my original. So 7 over 20 is equal to x over 100. I could use cross product to help me solve this problem, but I could also use my scaling method because I know that 20 can go into 100 5 times. And when I multiply by 5 on bottom, I'm going to do the same thing on top. So 7 times 5 is going to be 35. And this is 8%, and I went from 20 to 27, so 35% increase. I'm going to do the same thing except for number 2. Eva purchased a car for $20,000. Then the price of the car later dropped to $16,000. What is the percent decrease in the value of the car? All right, so this is also another difference over original. So I'm going to find my difference here. So 20,000 minus 16,000. 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 6 I cannot do, so I have to borrow and carry. 10 minus 6 is 4, 1 minus 1 is 1, and it looks like my car price now, or no, 1 minus 1 is not 1, sorry, 1 minus 1 is 0, so the new price, or the value decreased by 4,000. The original price of my car was $20,000, is equal to percent over 100. Okay, so I can do my tens trick. I can move, oops. Oh, hey, okay, perfect. I can do my tens trick. I can get rid of a 0 on top and a 0 on bottom. So I'm going to mark out a 0, 0, and 0. I can only do that 3 separate times. Then I can do 4 over 20 is equal to percent over 100. We've already looked up at the question number 1. 20 can go into 100 5 full times. I can do the same thing on the top. 5 times 20 is, or 5 times 4, sorry, is 20. And it's a 20%, and I went from 20,000 to 16,000, so it's a 20% decrease. All right, number 3, determine the amount of sales tax paid for each given income tax and for the income. So remember, we need to remember that sales tax is our part. And when we're looking at part, we can either use the equation or we can also use the proportion. I'm going to use the equation for this. So part is equal to percent times the whole. But in order to use this, I have to turn my 7% into a decimal. By doing that, I move it 2 times to the left and add a 0 in the front. So I'm going to have part is equal to 0.07 times my total, which is $45,000. So I'm going to have 45,000 times 0.07. You do not have to line up your decimals when multiplying. 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 4 is 28. Plus 3 more is 31. I have 2 place values, 1, 2. So part is equal to $3,150. That's how much tax we owe. On number 4, we are asked to do the exact same thing for number 4. So I'm going to have part is equal to percent times the whole. Turn 4% into a decimal. 1, 2. Part is equal to 0.04 times my total of $35,000. 35,000 times 0.04. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 more is 14. 2 place values, 1, 2. And I have my part is $1,400. All right, here we go. Number 5. So Hannah was shopping for a summer dress at a mall near her home. She found the dress she wanted in 2 different stores, both offering deals on the dress. Store number 1 was Macy's for $50 for the dress with a 15% off sale. And the store number 2 was Forever 21 for the dress at $65 with a 20% or $20 off coupon. We want to know which store will Hannah need to choose in order to have the best deal. All right, letter A. How much will Hannah pay for the dress at a 15% off discount with store number 1? So it sounds like I'm missing my part. So part equals whole equals in percent. So I'm missing my part. I have my total at $50 for the dress, and I have my percent off at 15%. I'm going to go ahead and use, let me show you how to use the proportion. We can also use the equation as well. So I'm going to solve it both ways. So part equals percent times the whole, and part over whole equals percent over 100. Oh, that doesn't need to be a W. That needs to be a 50. I knew I was messing up. Okay, so when we are looking at with the proportion, I can go from 100 to 50, and I must divide it by 2. And what I do to the bottom, I must do to the top as well. So I'm going to have 2 and dividing it into 15. 2 can go into 15 7 times with 1 left over. So I must add a decimal and a 0, bring it down. 2 can go into 10 5 full times to give me my part is equal to 7.5. If you use the equation, which I personally would with solving for the part, I need to turn my percentages into a decimal. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and I'm going to use part is equal to 0.15 times the total of 50. So I'm going to go over here. So 50 times 0.15, 5 times 0 is 5, 5 times 5 is 25. Done with the 5 placeholder, 1 times 0 is 0, 1 times 5 is 5. Add these up, 0, 5, and 7. I have 2 place values, so I'll go 1, 2, and I still end up with my part at $7.50. Now, this is not the final answer to my problem I have. What I need to do is I need to now go and take $50, 0.00, and subtract $7.50 from it. 0 minus 0 is 0. I cannot do 0 minus 5, so I have to borrow and carry all the way down. That's supposed to be a 9. Until I can get to the 0 to turn it into a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 7 is 2. And then 4 minus 0 is 4. The final price of the dress at Macy's is $42.50. Now we have to look at how much is the dress going to be at Forever 21. So it looks like Forever 21 has a dress for $65 up here with a $20 off. Oops. Oop, what happened? With a $20 off coupon. All right, so I'm going to do 65 minus 20. 5 minus 0 is 5, and 6 minus 2 is 4. So it looks like the dress at Forever 21 is $45. Well, which store is going to be cheaper? It looks like for Hannah needs to go to Macy's for a cheaper dress at $42.50. All right. Number 6, in Plano, the sales tax in Pleasant Grove sales tax in Plano is 8%. At Pleasant Grove, the sales tax is 6%. How much more would you pay in sales for Plano versus you would in Pleasant Grove? All right, so let's go ahead and do the Plano. So I have use the equation. Is part is equal to, why? I'm sorry, it's a new thing. Oy. There we go. All right, part is equal to percent times the whole. And remember, your percent has to be in the form of a decimal. So with 8%, I need to move my decimal 2 times to the left, and I'm going to receive 0.08. So I'm going to go over here. So part is equal to 0.08 times the total of $560. So 560 times 0.08. 0 times 8 is 0. 6 times 8 is 48. 5 times 8 is 40 plus 4 more is 44. I have 2 place values, so I'm going to go 1, 2. My tax for Plano is $44.80. Now I need to find my tax for Pleasant Grove. So I'm going to do the same step. So I'm missing the part. My total is 560. And my percent is not 8, it is 6%, which turns into 0.06 when I move it into a decimal. So part is equal to 0.06 times 560. So 560 times 0.06. 0 times 0 is 0. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 5 is 15. 16, 17, 18. I have 2 place values, so I've got a decimal at right here. 1, 2. And my tax here is $18.60. And then the final question is wanting to know, how much more would Plano, Texas on sales tax be than Pleasant Grove? So what we need to do is we need to take both of our numbers and we're going to subtract them. So I'm going to do 44.80 minus 18.60. And please do remember that when you are subtracting, you must line up your decimals. 0 minus 0 is 0. 8 minus 6 is 2. I cannot do 4 minus 8, so I must borrow and carry. Well, 14 minus 8 is going to be 6. And then 3 minus 1 is 2. So Plano is charging $26.20 more than Pleasant Grove. All right, a restaurant bill is $85. I need to calculate the tip of 20% or 15%. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and change colors here. Let's see if green looks pretty nice. All right, so we're going to find the restaurant bill on 20% tip. So I have my part is equal to X, my whole is equal to 85, and my percent is equal to 20. Or we're going to change this into a decimal to be 0.20, which is also the same thing as 0.2. I'm going to use the equation again. So 0.2 times 85. 85 times 0.2. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 8 is 16, plus 1 more is 17. I have 1 place value. So my tip on 20% is $17. Let's find the tip on 15%. So part is equal to X, whole is 85, and the percent is 15, or 0.15 when you move your decimal. So part is equal to 0.15 times 85. 85 times 0.15. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 8 is 40, plus 2 more is 42. I'm done with the 5, which means I must put a placeholder. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 8 is 8. Add the numbers up. 5 and 0 is 5. 5 plus 2 is 7. 8 plus 4 is 12. I have 2 place values, so I move my decimal over 2 times to give me a tip of $12.75. All right, Mr. Sanchi earns 12% commissions on the sales he makes at the Roja Cosmetics. Complete the table by determining the amount of commissions he earned each week. All right, so when we are looking for the commissions, we are looking for our part. The week is our total, and we have our percentage up here. So we are looking for part on each of these. So I'm going to go ahead and use the equation for all 3 of these. And I'm going to start right here. So I'm going to say part is equal to, well, 12% is 0.12 times 1,500. I'm going to go ahead and write the equation for each of these. Awesome. All right, now I'm going to go down here at the bottom and I'm going to solve them. So let's go ahead and get the first week. So week number 1. So I'm going to have 15,000 times 0.12. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1 more is 3. Done with the 2, placeholder. 1 times 1 is 0. 1 times 1 is 0. 1 times 5 is 5. And 1 times 1 is 1. Add my numbers up. 0 plus 0 is 0. 5 plus 3 is 7. And then 1 plus 0 is 1. I have 2 place values, so I can go 1, 2. And my commission is $170. Now we're going to solve it if we had earned $900. So I'm going to do 900 times 0.12. 2 times 0 is 0. 9 times 2 is 18. Done with the 2, placeholder. 1 times 0 is 0. And then 1 times 9 is 9. Add my numbers up. 0, 0, 8. And 9 plus 1 is 10. I have 2 place values, so I go 1, 2. And I receive $108. I'm going to do this one more time. Did I mess up my numbers here somewhere? I did. Oh, let's go back. I'm sorry. Right here. It's not 170. It is $180. 5 plus 3 is not 7. It is 8. There we go. All right. And then the last one, 2,000 times 0.12. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 2 is 4. Done with the 2, placeholder. 1 times 0 is 0. And then 1 times 2 is 2. 0, 0, 0, 4, and 2. I have 2 place values, so I'm going to go 1, 2. And then for commissions, it is $240. $240. All right, let's look at number 9. All right, so number 9, Amazon is selling books, and they are going to mark up their prices to maximize their profit. Complete the table to show the percent increase of each item. All right, so let's take a look. For the book, it cost Amazon $8 to purchase the book, but they sell it for $12. So I need to find the difference between the two. So I'm going to have 12 minus 8, which is going to be 4. To find the percent increase, remember this is your difference over the original is equal to percent over 100. So it's going to be 4 over 8. And I already know that 4 is half of 8, which is a 50% increase. All right, colored pencils. From 10 to 12, the difference is 2. So I'm going to have 2 over 10. And when you divide 2 by 10, you're going to have 10 on the outside, 2 on the inside. 10 can't go into 2. Add a decimal. Can go in there 2 full times. So the difference is 0.20, which is 20%. The jacket, my difference from 20 to 25 is 5. So I'm going to have 5 over 20. I know that 5 over 20 can reduce down to 1 over 4, which is 25%. And then the last one, the difference between 18 and 30 is 12. So I would have 12 over 18. I'm going to go ahead and reduce 12 over 18. I know that 6 can go in above 12 over 18. Well, 12 divided by 6 is 2. 18 divided by 6 is 3. You can use your cross product and solve this, and you can put this into your proportion of 2 over 3 is equal to percent over 100. I can have 200 divided by 3. When you do this, I believe you are going to get roughly 66% and some change, meaning that number is going to go on forever without an end. But that's not that important for us to be able to answer the question, because the question here is asking us which item has a percent increase that's greater than 25. All I needed to do is to see, is my difference less or more than 25% of what my original cost was? Well, it looks like my book was 50, so my book makes that. 25%, well, my colored pencils was 20, so that's not an option. My jacket is exactly 25%, but read the question. It says greater than 25%. So that means my jacket is not going to be true. And then look at my shoes. I didn't even have to know that it was 66%. All I knew is that it was 12 over 18. Well, if I think about it, half of 18 is 9. So 9 over 18 is 50%, which means 12 over 18 definitely has to be much bigger than 25%. So it's going to be my book and my shoes. All right, number 10, here we get into our simple interest. So I'm going to go ahead and write the equation here. Simple interest is I is equal to PRT, where P is what you start with. So I'm going to go over here. P equals start. It's your principal. R is equal to your rate. And T is equal to time. All right, so all I do in simple interest is I'm going to multiply all three of my numbers together. So I'm going to plug in my principal, what I start with at 2,000. My R is my rate, and well, it's 3%, but mind you, we have to turn our percent into a decimal. So I'm going to move it 2 times to the left. I have 0.03. And then I'm going to multiply this here by the years of 10. All right, so you can multiply your numbers in any order that you want. I typically multiply all the numbers before the decimal. So I'm going to do 2,000 times 10, and I'm going to show you a tens trick. I'm going to do 2 times 1 first, which is 2, and then I'm going to add all the zeros at the end. So I see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have 4 zeros, and 2,000 times 10 gives me 20,000. Then I'm going to multiply this by 0.03. 3 times 0 is 0 all the way through. 3 times 2 is 6. I see that I have 2 place values, so I'm going to go 1, 2 to give me an interest of $600. I'm going to do the same thing for number 11. I is equal to $4,000 to start with. My rate, even though it's in a decimal now currently, I need to move it 2 times to the left to have 0.045. The year is not 10, it's 5 now. I can do the same thing I did above, where I'm going to do my tens trick of 4 times 5, which is 20, and I have 3 zeros between the two numbers. I still end up with 20,000, but that's not my final answer. I still have to multiply by 0.045. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 2 is 10. Placeholder, 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 2 is 8. Add my numbers. 0 plus 0 is 0. 1 plus 8 is 9. I have 3 place values this time, so go 1, 2, 3 to give me an interest rate of $900. All right, number 12, this is compound. So we talked about this the other day, where we have A is equal to capital P, open parentheses, 1 plus R, close parentheses, to the power of T. That is the formula that we have to use for compound. We don't have to know anything else. If we know that compound starts with A, you can get rid of A and D, because both of those look like they are my simple interest, which is the equation for simple interest. Now I just have to use process of elimination. And so P is what you start with. So we're going to go ahead and plug in some of this information. So it says a savings account with an original deposit of $4,500. So I put in 4,500. Actually, we can get rid of the parentheses because I don't want to confuse you. So 4,500, open parentheses, 1 plus. Now, R is the rate. Well, it looks like my rate is 6%, which is 0.06 as a decimal, so 0.06. Close parentheses, and we are doing this for the years of 5 years. So T is in the top right, and we got a little 5 up in the top right. So it looks like the only answer choice that matches what we have written is letter C. All right, now we got some vocabulary to where we got to know what each of these pieces means. So we have to know what net worth means, what asset means, and what liability means. All right, so number 13, Blank includes the value of all accounts, investments, and things that you own. Well, investments I know is a good thing to me, and that sounds like the word for assets, because assets are good money to you. Then I get into the next word, is a calculation of the value of everything that you own minus the amount of everything that you owe. This is your net worth. This is how you solve for net worth of a problem. And then that means the last word that we have is liability. This is financial obligation or debt. So that sounds like a negative thing to me, which is my liabilities. All right. Number 16, classify each item as an asset or a liability. All right, so student loans, that is a liability. Those are bad things to you. Medical bills, this is a liability. So I've done this one, done this one. A house is a good thing. The value of my house is good. Savings is a good thing. Mortgage is bad. This is what I owe to my house. Certificate of deposit, this is a good thing. This is a check written to you. Car payment, this is the same thing as a car loan. That's bad. Your physical car or the price of your car is good. Investments, these are like stocks and bonds. These are good to you. Jewelry, this is a good thing to you. Oh, I messed up. Jewelry. Credit cards, this is bad to you. This is money you're borrowing from the bank. And a 403B, this is a retirement account. And this is a good thing to you. All right, number 17, we are going to skip through number 17 at the moment because we do not need it for our test. I put it on there accidentally. And we are going to move over to question number 18. Question number 18 is asking us to find the net worth of Jones. So we need to go through the same process as number 16 and put each of these accounts into assets and liabilities. So business loan is a liability, 403 is good. Vehicle is the loan is a liability. Certificate of deposit is good. Your home is good, and your investments are good. So I have 2 liabilities and 4 assets. So I'm going to go ahead and separate these out. I'm going to abbreviate business loan to BL, and I have $200,000 here. I'm going to add in the other one, which is the vehicle loan, which is $65,900. Then I'm going to write in, my 403B, which is $65,780. My certificate of deposit is $30,000. The value of my home is $230,000. And then investments, I'm going to abbreviate to invest. $35,000, another 0. Okay, to find the net worth, we separated them out. Now we have to add up each individual account, each individual side. So I'm going to turn into blue for this one. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to line up all of my numbers. So I'm going to start with the value of my home because it's the largest. Then I'm going to go to the next one, which is the 403B, so $65,780. Then I'm going to do $35,000, and then I'm going to do $30,000. When you're adding up large numbers like this, I like to put them all in one spot. So I'm going to add everything up. Well, 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 8 is 8, plus 0 plus 0 is still 8. 0 plus 7 is 7, plus 0 plus 0 is 7. 0 plus 5 is 5. Well, 5 plus 5 is 10, and 10 plus 0 is still 10. Add the 0. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 6 is 10. 10 plus 3 is 13, and 13 plus 3 is 16. 2 plus 1 is 3. So when I add all those up, I get $367.80. Now I'm going to go over here and add up all of my liabilities. So I'm going to do 200,000 plus 65,900. 0 and 0 is 0. 0 and 0 is 0. 0 plus 9 is 9. 0 plus 5 is 5. 0 plus 6 is 6. 2 plus 0 is 2. To give me 265,900. I'm not done. To find the net worth, it is the asset amount minus the liability amount. So I still have to do one more step. So I'm going to do 360,780 minus 265,900. 0 minus 0 is 0. 8 minus 0 is 8. I cannot do 7 minus 9, so I must borrow. I have to go all the way over to the 6, take that 0, turn it into a 10, take it, turn it into a 9 to borrow to the 7. 17 minus 9 is 8. 9 minus 5 is 4. 5 minus 6 cannot do, so I have to borrow from the 3, turn it into a 2. 15 minus 6 is, let's see, 6 into 10 is 4, plus 5 more is 9. To give me a final net worth of $94,880. All right. And number 19. All right, looking at number 19, our last one, it says Miss Smith spent a total of $32 on the items listed below. 2 State Fair tickets for $8 each, 1 Fletcher's Corny Dog for $7.50, and then 2 drinks for $4.25 each. It is asking us what percent of the $32 did Miss Smith spend on State Fair tickets. All right, so I'm looking for the percent, so I'm going to have my part equals, whole equals, and my percent equals. So since it's asking what percent, I'm going to say the percent is X. My total is $32 because that's how much I spent in all. And then I have 2 State Fair tickets at $8 each. Now, here's the problem. I have 2 tickets, so 1 ticket is equal to $8. 2 tickets is equal to $16. So my part is 16 and not $8. Let's see, can I? Actually, hang on. Can I back up? Perfect. Let's try that again. Awesome. I'm going to move that up here. Look at that. I'm learning. I like it. Okay. I'm going to use the proportion. So I'm going to use the part over whole is equal to percent over 100. 16 over 32 is equal to X over 100. 32 cannot go into 100 by scaling. I could use cross product, but before I do that, I'm going to simplify. I know that at least 2, so I can divide both 16 and 32 by 2. 16 divided by 2 is 8. 32 divided by 2 is 16. I'm going to go ahead and divide this once more. And 8 divided by 8, I'm going to divide on both sides by 8. Both top and bottom. 8 divided by 8 is equal to 1. 16 divided by 8 is equal to 2. So I'm going to have 1 over 2 is equal to X over 100. 2 can go into 150 times. And then I do the same thing to the top to have a 1 times 50 to give me 50%. All right, let's go ahead and look for the second one. What percent of the 32 did Miss Smith spend on the Fletcher's Corny Dog? And it says to round to the thousands, but I'm going to go ahead and round to the, not the tenths, to the tenths, if I can write. TENTHS. All right, so my part, my whole, and my percent. My percent is unknown. The whole is 32. And then the part is 750. I'm going to use my proportion here. So 750 over 32 is equal to, not X, sorry. That means to be an equal sign. Equal to X over 100. 32 cannot go into 100, and I cannot simplify 750 over 32 nicely. So what I am going to do is I'm going to do cross product. I'm going to do 100 times 7.5. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 1 is 5. When I'm done with the 5, I have to put a 0 for a placeholder. 7 times 0 is 0. And then 7 times 1 is 7. Add all my numbers up. I have a 1 place value, so I have a 1 decimal. And now I have to do 750 divided it by 32. All right, so I'm going to go over here, 32, 750. And I said I was going to go to the tens place. So I'm going to add a 0 already. Okay, so let's do a little bit of thinking. 32 into 7, not possible, into 75. All right, let's think to ourselves. If it was 30, how many times could 30 go into 75? Well, I have 30, then 60, 60, then 90, then 120, then 150. I can go in there at least 2 times. So I'm going to go down here and do 32 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6 to have 64. I have 1 left over here, 1 left over here. Bring down the 0. How many times do we think at least 30, if we were looking at it just 30 would go in? It would be 3 times to give me 90 something. So let's do 32 times 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. So I have 96. I'm going to have to borrow and carry. 10 minus 6 is 4. Borrow here and carry. 10 minus 9 is 1. Bring down the 0. 32 can go in there at least 4 times. So I'm going to have 32 times 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. So it's going to be 128. Borrow and carry 2, 1, and 0. And then we know that we can keep going. But I told us to stop at the tens place. Oop, not money symbol. This is percent, not money. To have 23.4%. All right, now we need to find for the drinks. So what percent of the 32 did Miss Smith spend on the drinks? Part equals, whole equals, percent equals. Well, my percent is still unknown. My total is $32. And then let's look back up at the drinks. She spent 2 drinks for $4.25 each. So I have 2 drinks, or hang on, not 2. Let's do what we did with the 8. So I have 1 drink at $4.25, and then I have another drink at $4.25. If I add these up to give me 2 drinks, it's going to be 5 and 5 is 0, carry the 1. 2 and 2 is 4, plus 1 more is 5. Bring down the decimal. 4 and 4 is 8. So my part is $8.50. Going to write my proportion here. 850 over 32 is equal to x over 100. I see that I cannot scale or simplify, so I'm going to have to do my multiplying again, or cross product, I'm sorry. 100 times 8.5, 0, 0, and 5. Placeholder, 0, 0, and 8. 0, 0, 5, and 8. I have a 1 place value. So it's 850 divided by 32. 32, 850. And I'm going to use the same thoughts that I did right here to kind of help me get there. Actually, let me move this here so it can give us a little bit more room. All right. Oop, messing up. All right, so we're going to add a decimal and a 0. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's think of 32 as 30 again. So I've got 30, 60, 90. Oh, I can stop at 60. So I've got 2. And we already know that 32 times 2 is 64. So 5 minus 4 is 1. 8 minus 6 is 2. Carry the 1 or carry the 0. Now I got to keep going. So 180. So then I've got, or 150, I've got 180. Then I have 2100. Did I mess up somewhere? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, hang on, wait, 85. I feel like I messed up on my... Why am I not getting... Hang on. 180. That should come out to be just right. Hang on. I messed up somewhere. Oh, hey, we can get it bigger. Why is it not going? Awesome. All right, so let's see. 32 times 2 is 64. 5 minus 4 is 1. 8 minus 6 is 2. And then we're going to bring down the 0. Oh, okay, because 210, that's times 30, but we've got to do 32 times, okay, I see what I did. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I did 32 times 7, I'm going to have 4, 3 times 7, or 14. 3 times 7 is 21, plus 1 more is 22. That's not going to be 210. This was just an estimated if it was 30. That's what I did. So 32 times 6, 6 times 2 is 12, carry the 1. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 1 more is 19. That's what I did. Just trying to help you guys out by thinking with 30s. All right, 10 minus 2 is 8. Have to borrow and carry. 10 minus 1 is 1. Add my placeholder, that's 6. Bring it down to 180. We know that it cannot be 180, so we know that it has to be 5. And last one, 32 times 5. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 3 is 15. 1 more is 16. And then 160. And then you're going to be left with 20. And we know that it's going to go on, but I'm going to stop. Oh, I did it again. It's not money. I'm just thinking money today. It's going to be 26.5%. If you have any questions, please let us know.